It's win or go home time for the Buffalo Bills against the Chiefs this week, and that should be the mindset of the Buffalo Bills, Jake. All that and more right after I say hi to my co-host, Mr. Podger. How you doing, Jake?
Love the freaking fake outs. I'll tell you what, we started it last show. We're continuing it off on this one. Mike, I'm doing great. Never been better. Very jolly. I am in the full Christmas mood. I am like a Clark Griswold 2.0, if you will. I don't know if you knew this about me, Mike, but I love to decorate. Love it. It's like my guilty
Oh,
pleasure.
dude, I
If I had
see
to
that.
throw up, I put the train back here. I got another tree back there.
Uh,
Outside is fully decorated. I'm still thinking of ways I can add more lights. But the problem is I actually added so many in the backyard that it kept kicking. The GFI just kept kicking off, so I had to keep
yeah,
resetting it.
got
So I'm
it.
like, maybe I overloaded it a little bit. But yeah. So anyways, no, I'm doing great. Very excited to have some Buffalo Bills football back this weekend. And it's a big game. Big game. It's win or go home, basically, now, Mike.
It really is. And that needs to be the mindset for this Bills team because,
Yep.
the percentages of the Bills making the playoffs are already low enough. You lose to another AFC team, the percentages are going to drop to somewhere below 5%. Yeah, sure, there might be a path if you lose this game, but right now it's one game at a time, and you need to win out. And
Yep.
let's go. So I want to say, first of all, hi to Big Al out there. Good to see you. He comes in hot. He says this is a huge game. They have to win this one. They're a lot more healthy now with 4 players coming back. They should be well rested, so no excuses. Yeah, that's a good point, Big Al. I was looking at the injury report, and everyone's looking good. And we got some good news today. Dawson Knox has been designated to come off the IR, and he was a full practice today. Also, Kyer Elam was also designated to come off the IR. So that's an interesting move right there. But let's talk about Knox for a second because, Brady hasn't had a chance yet to work with that 12 personnel. So talk to me a little bit about Knox coming back.
Yeah, I am very curious to see what happens with that. It's been a big weekend, by the way, for Dawson Knox. The guy goes and gets engaged.
Oh,
Now
wow.
he's active. I don't know if you saw that. Yeah, he got
I did not.
engaged to his longtime girlfriend. So
Nice.
that happened over the weekend. And, now the players are rested up, especially Dawson Knox. He's been on IR for the last 4 weeks, 8 weeks.
No, it hasn't been
4
that
weeks.
long.
4
weeks. Yeah.
It feels longer. Actually, 5 weeks if you include the bye.
Yeah.
But he has been designated to return, so that 21-day window opens up. Now, if he isn't activated in that 21 days, he will go back to IR. But I think he's ready to go, Mike. Really excited to see what this offense can do now with Joe Brady at the helm. Things may differ a little bit, and why would you complain when it's an extra weapon for Josh Allen? And I know Dawson Knox came into this year, didn't have necessarily the best season up until, the injury was officially like putting him out. But I think he's back. It sounds like he's healthy. So I'm eager to see what happens there.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. Like, it's just another look that the Bills can throw out there. And Dawson Knox been, playing with Josh Allen for his whole career. And they're very comfortable with one another. We've seen Dawson Knox, what that 12 personnel looked like early in the season. I loved what I was seeing from it early on. So happy to get him back. Again, just another look. And who knows what Brady's going to dial up with that 12 personnel. So excited to see it.
And he has big games against the Chiefs, if you remember. I mean, he balls out against this Kansas City Chiefs team. So, and I know you're just going to mention it, but another guy, Kyer Elam, coming off the IR as well, who also had a big game last year against Kansas City Chiefs. I'll let you take it from here on that one.
Yeah, so let me come back to you on that one. Don't let me forget to talk about Kyer. I want to mention.
I always do that.
Well, no, it's good. I just forget, so keep me on track here. But I want to go back to Dawson Knox for a couple of reasons. Big L says Dawson says he hasn't felt this good in a long time. But I also want to tell you about Dawson Knox. He's a huge supporter of the Pump Foundation. And the Pump Foundation is an organization in Buffalo, New York, that helps families that have a child with cancer. And we have partnered with them this year for the second year in a row. And we're raising money for Cardell. You can see him in the top right there of your screen. We have a little QR code. If you're watching this on your computer, you can take your phone and scan it. You go right to the donation page. If you're watching this on your phone, the link is in the description of the video. But Dawson is huge. I mean, he's helped this Foundation raised a lot of money on our holiday spectacular, which is coming up on December 22nd this year at 8 p.m. Eastern. You don't want to miss that. Jake and I released the video a few days ago talking about all the cool things we're going to do, but it's all really about raising money for Cardell and his family. But we're going to have we've got some signed merch from Dawson, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Yes,
we got a signed game used glove. By the way, I tried that on.
Oh,
his
you
hands
had to.
aren't as big as I expected, but pretty awesome.
Yeah, and so that's good stuff there. So just another reason that I'm happy to see Dawson back. And you're right. I mean, he's had some big games against the Chiefs. Now let me go back to Kyer, because Kyer just hasn't had a shot this year. Don't know what happened. Our first round pick of last year, just what went wrong in the offseason? I don't know. I had huge hopes for him this year, but it hasn't worked out that way. But last year against the Chiefs, he had a big interception against Mahomes that helped turn that game back around for the Bills. I don't think they're going to play him, but it's interesting that they did elevate him. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would say, if anything, this is the type of team that you want to play Kyer Elam against. He's athletic. He can make up ground if he does get beat, and he's physical. He plays that is his thing, man scheme. And if you're going to run any man, I think this is the team to do it against. Maybe even line him up against a guy like Travis Kelce. You got to jam him at the line and get him off his route. Now, in the past, we've used Saran Neal to do so, but maybe you switch things up a little bit. You throw Kyer in there and give him another look and see what he can do against this Chiefs team. Last year, he had a great game against them. I think he matches up well against those receivers for them. Rashee Rice, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Justin Watson. I don't know if Justin Watson's actually still playing or not. I think he's banged up. He is. Okay.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. I thought he actually got hurt this year, but no, it looks like he is healthy. Nonetheless, I think he matches up very well against any of these receivers. And, you get him to be a little physical at the line. It throws him off their route a little bit. And, we saw what happened last year. And, I'm excited to see whether or not they actually activate him. But the fact that he's coming off of IR and they're not just going to let this ride throughout the rest of the year may tell me that the Bills are willing to give him another chance.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me as well. Because I'm like, why now? Again, it's interesting. It's the Chiefs, right? And he did such a good job last year. So we'll see what happens there. We got some questions from the channel. I want to ask you what Roy is asking. Who gets cut for Knox to be put on the 53? What's your thoughts there?
That's a great question, honestly. Just thinking of, who we had activated the last game. I know Cam Lewis is always a name. He's been.
Don't say Cam.
I know. Trucker View is going to eat that right up. I get it. Sure I totally get it. But Cam is technically playing the nickelback position right now. He's not really playing safety as much because we have so much added depth at the safety position now. And with both of them actually being healthy, I don't see a need to activate Cam, especially if we have Saran Neal active as well. So I would say Cam Lewis probably would be a healthy scratch, and then Dawson is, on the.
I think what Roy's asking is, I think
to actual cut.
You have to actually send somebody to the practice squad,
right,
or cut them, release them in order to free up that spot for Knox.
That's a hard answer to give. I'm looking right now at our roster. Man. Yeah, I don't even know where you go with that one.
Yeah, I'm wondering if there's somebody. I'm just trying to think on the defensive side that we elevated from the. We have to remember back who have we elevated from the practice squad? That's
Jamarcus Ingram. He's been a guy that's come up. I'm just looking like right now at the active roster, and I can't really. Out of all these players here, there's no one I really want to send down or cut or get rid of.
Yeah.
And like I said, if you're going to maybe mark anyone as like a healthy scratch, maybe that's Cam Lewis. But he makes a good point. To get Dawson Knox on the actual 53 man, you're going to have to make a move somewhere. So
yeah, unless they have someone else they throw on the IR.
Right.
But you can't if you cut Cam Lewis, he's going to be snagged. That's not a guy you can cut. He's not going to make it past waivers whatsoever. So it's a great question, Roy. Who are you thinking? What about you, John? I know you have a lot of good insight as well. Are you thinking the Bills, cut and potentially, go back to the practice squad to free up a spot for Knox? It's interesting. Great question. Yeah. Thank you. And then I think John Roberts coming in with. Do you think they will play more 12? I think you're meaning
12
personnel when
personnel.
Dawson. Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, I think
I
you
think
have to.
I think it looked good early in the year when we had it, and now with the with Kincaid doing what he's doing, I'm excited to see what Brady can do with this. So yeah, John,
Yeah,
I'm thinking yes. Timmy Cork's coming in was always a hot take, and
Jimmy.
got to give up on the Kyer experiment. You got Rasul for another season. Dane and Benford have been serviceable enough. Plus, I am not afraid of the Chiefs' passing game.
Yeah, it's been a different type of offense for the Chiefs this year. If anything, I think I'm more scared of their running game. I mean, they've been able to get that going lately. Isaiah Pacheco's been balling, and I know he got thrown out of last game, but man, he's like 122 yards. I think the Chiefs have actually struggled because they want to get back into the passing game. They want to that's their identity, and they don't want to have to run the football. So, you know, I agree with you, Timmy. I know they have Travis Kelce and they got some young receivers, but I think we can handle them. I mean, we've done a better job against teams such as the Eagles that, have these world beaters. And honestly, I know, we lose that game, but we kept them in check for the most part.
And Jake, I don't want to throw out a bunch of numbers, but these teams are so close. I feel like I don't even have to go through the numbers, but I'll give you a
Yeah.
couple points there. So points per game, the Bills are right now fifth. They're averaging 27.3, and Kansas City is, let's see, where do I find them down there? They're not too far behind. Okay, so they're averaging 22.9. So the Bills averaging 27.3, Kansas City 22.9, which Kansas City is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11th on the board there. So very close though. But if you look at the yards per game, it's like 20 yards difference on average per game in favor of the Bills. If you look at Mahomes and Josh Allen's stats, my goodness, they're like mirror images for the most part, believe it or not. On the defensive side of the ball, that's where the Chiefs have really improved this year.
Yeah.
I mean, they are number 3, only giving up 17.3 points per game, but the Bills aren't far off. They're only giving up 18.9 points per game. So again, they're so similar. They're like mirror images. And that will segue right into what I want to ask you, because I do think the big difference for the Chiefs this year is their defense is better and their wide receivers are just struggling. But yeah, can you compare this year's Chiefs team to the Chiefs of the past?
You said it perfectly. And I'll say this. I think at the cornerback position specifically, starting with Trent McDuffie, a guy that the Bills had their eye on, and instead, we end up getting Kyer Elam because the Chiefs had jumped us to get Trent McDuffie. I think that's where you've really seen a lot of improvement with Steve Spagnuolo's defense. Brian Cook has played very well. They still have Justin Reed, who's an absolute dog and can be their backup kicker if he needs to be. I think their secondary has improved tremendously. And don't forget, they still have a very good young defensive line, too. George Karlaftis, Derek Nottie, Mike Dana, and then Chris Jones, of course, who, the Bills have actually been able to manage to keep in check for the most part over the last few matchups against him. But I think specifically in the secondary, that's where you've seen them really take off. Trent McDuffie this year, Mike, 5 forced fumbles. It's like Peanut Tillman 2.0 right now. Him and Khalil Mack are tied for the league lead in forced fumbles this season. By the way, Khalil Mack having a low-key Defensive Player of the Year performance. 15 sacks, he leads the NFL, and he's got 5 forced fumbles. What a year for him, by the way.
That's
I know
fantastic.
that's off topic, but I had to mention that.
Yeah, McDuffie, I've seen them sending McDuffie a lot on blitzes. And a lot, he's been getting some strip sacks there. So, I mean, he's a great talent, great corner. Again, he's going to probably be, they're going to shut down Diggs. It's the same thing what we've seen recently with most teams. But let me get back to the channel here and ask a couple questions. Big L, is it worth getting Zach Ertz?
That's a good question, Dad. I would say had we not activated Dawson Knox, or if we're not planning on doing so, which I highly doubt, I would say yes if we weren't planning on moving forward with Dawson Knox. But because he will be back in the lineup, I would say no, because as our buddy Roy mentioned, you do have to cut someone in order to even make room for Dawson. And honestly, Quentin Morris, I don't think he's bad, like as a third option. And I think you still can run. My dad says run 3 tight ends in the game at the same time. I think you will see some of that because Quentin Morris is a good athlete too. And I think you can put all three of them on the field at the same time.
Maybe even 4. If you're going to go that much,
Reggie
why
Killian.
not go 4 with your boy Reggie? Because he's kind of a hybrid.
Yeah, sure is. Total athlete, baby.
You know, John's coming in with they should still use Shakir a lot. Absolutely. Love Shakir. Yeah. Where's Timmy? Timmy eating some crow now. He's out there early in the season.
He sure is.
Thinking Shakir was going to be a surprise cut. No way, man. This kid has really showed up lately. And Brady at least is utilizing him. And I think we'll continue to see that a lot. I mean, just seems to get open when he makes plays. And then, dude, when he took off, what was that, 81 yarder or something?
Oh, it's unbelievable.
80. I mean, we've talked about him. We actually did a video specifically on him. He's obviously a great route runner. He's sneaky fast. Believe it or not, people don't think
he ran 4.41. I think
he's one of the fastest receivers we have. Believe it or not, he's got great hands. One of the knocks on him coming into the season, and we saw it early in preseason, is that he makes the circus catches, but he drops the easy catch. He just loses, focus on something simple, similar to what we see Knox, but not to that degree. But man, he's showing up in a big way, and they definitely better continue to use him. Let's see. He says the way Shakir is playing, he can help free up Diggs. Yeah,
certainly. Now you got to remember they did shift Trent McDuffie inside, so he's technically their nickel corner right now. So that is going to be very interesting, especially with how we utilize Dalton Kincaid and, of course, Dawson Knox now if he does play in this game. Is Dalton going to be in the slot more? How does that affect Khalil Shakir's, usage? So there's a lot of things you got to consider with that. But I do like putting a bigger guy in the slot for that reason alone, because Trent McDuffie is a bigger corner and he's very physical.
Yeah, so Roy coming in with some good takes here. Thanks, Roy, for getting back to us on that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Right there. That's the first name that I would say yes.
Yeah.
Or Kingsley Jonathan. Between those two, Jake, who would you like to see cut?
I think Jermaine
you don't like
Ifedi
to see anybody, but who you think would be?
I would say based on production, I would absolutely go with Jermaine Ifedi. Of course, you lose a depth piece there at the tackle position for the offensive line. God forbid anyone gets injured, but our offensive line has played very well this year. And supposedly Von Miller is still going to play. I don't really know what's up with that whole situation right now. But what he's been doing on the field, not impressive at all. Kingsley Jonathan, he's had a few splash plays. That's a guy I don't want to lose because he will get picked up by another team.
Yeah. Yeah, the Von Miller situation, I've been purposely avoiding the whole subject. Don't want to get into it just because,
for sure. Yeah.
I don't want to say something that'll upset.
Yeah.
No matter what I say, it will upset somebody.
Right.
So
right.
let's see how it plays out. Again, I have my thoughts and I would love to share them, but I'm going to stay away from that right now. And let's see how it plays out. Let's see here. So I think we're caught up there. And you were.
And by the way, Jamarcus Ingram is technically still on the practice squad, so he's not on the active roster. And I think we've only called him up for 2 games thus far, so that's why he's still able to be on.
So is Ifedi then on the? He
is on the active roster.
Okay.
Yes. Yep.
So that would be the one. That would be the move. I would.
I would think so. Or you could look at maybe AJ Klein as a guy.
Oh, that's a great point.
Just because Dorian Williams, Tyrell Dotson, they've been shifting in and out. Haven't seen a whole lot of AJ Klein, and I love AJ, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point. But what's the depth after? So you got
Balin Spector.
We got Spector. Okay,
who's a special teamer, but
yeah. So if they're active and playing, I guess AJ Klein is a good candidate. There's no one going to be, beating the doors down to pick him up, swoop him off the practice squad. So that's a great call right there. But Ifedi, at least AJ Klein is a seasoned veteran, right? We've seen him make plays for the Bills. And so I don't know what the depth there. I think we're fine at linebacker for right now, but Klein does bring that leadership if needed. But Ifedi, what would make you want to keep Ifedi over Klein?
I know it. And it's crazy because my attitude towards Jermaine Ifedi has changed so much because our offensive line has so much outperformed our expectations. we were fully expecting Jermaine Ifedi to maybe replace Spencer Brown, but Spencer Brown has really silenced the haters this year, and Deion Dawkins is having the season of his life. So Jermaine Ifedi is sort of an afterthought, and he's a former first-round pick. Didn't really pan out for him in Seattle. He goes to Chicago, started some games last year in Detroit, and he's a big dude too. He's 6'6", 325. But yeah, I mean, outside of added depth right now, he's not really serving a great purpose on this O-line. Whereas Kingsley Jonathan at least can be a rotational guy. And then a guy like AJ Klein, he's a veteran, and we're banged up on defense, plain and simple. So you probably want to keep your defensive guys.
Yeah, but you bring up a good point. I mean, if you look at the depth, let's say Brown, I mean, we've been lucky, knock on wood, been extremely healthy. But if Brown was to go down with an injury or somebody, obviously Bates can fill the role between guard and center. I haven't seen Bates. I've heard he can play pretty much any role, but I haven't seen him as a tackle. So
he
that
came in as a tackle, Mike.
Did he?
Yeah, he did. He actually kicked inside. He could. Yeah,
he can play everywhere, right? So I guess the only hesitation for me, if it's between him and Klein, is that I'm a little worried about the depth there on the offensive line, and I'm not so much worried on the depth as far as linebacker for the Bills. So interesting stuff. Good question, Roy, for sure. So Jake, I mean, we know this Chiefs. This is like something. The last 2 years we play them. It seems like it's just a regular now. Every year we play the Chiefs, and they're
at Arrowhead.
They're some of the best games. I know that's another thing. Come on, can you give us a break and let us play in Buffalo? But you know we've beat them the last 2 times. They're more beatable than ever, but it's still Pat Mahomes, still Kelsey, still Andy Reid leading that team, and they're going to be bringing it. And you know what? They haven't locked up the division. They're only 2 games ahead of their guys. So let me bring that up real quick.
The Broncos are 6-6.
Yeah, so they're only
who are also ahead of us now.
Right, they're 8-4. Broncos are 6-6. Broncos did beat them. I think they split with the Chiefs. I know they beat them. Like that's been part of their big comeback. The Chargers are 5-7, and the Raiders. So I don't really think the Chargers and Raiders are any threat to them, but the Chiefs are going to have to play hard. I mean, they do have a team on their heels. It's crazy, Jake, if you look at the other divisions. So the East, of course, is the Dolphins. They got a 3-game lead over the Bills. They're in good control of that division. The North, though, you got the Ravens at 9-3, but you got the Steelers at 7 wins. You got the Browns at 7 wins, and you got the Bengals still. I mean, you asked me last week, what's that team that you think could go on a roll that's behind the Bills? And I said, I'm not worried about the Bengals. They don't have no Joe Burrow. But oh my God, they put up what a
Jake
game.
Browning. Unbelievable.
So if he continues to do that, watch out there. So interesting. And then you got this AFC South with the Jaguars with 8 wins, the Colts with 7, the Texans with 7. This AFC, man, is extremely difficult.
Yeah, they are.
So let's just catch up on the actual playoff spots right now. So Dolphins are the top seed right now. If Jacksonville had won their last game, they would have jumped to the top seed, but they lost. So the number 2 seed is the Ravens right now. Number 3 is the Chiefs. 4 is Jacksonville. At number 5 is a wild card are the Steelers. They are 7-5. You got the Colts at 7-5. They're number 6, and the Browns are at 7-5. Those would be the 7 playoff teams if the season was to end today. On the bubble, you got the Texans at 7-5. You got the Broncos at 6-6, the Bills at 6-6, and the Bengals at 6-6. And you might be and so the Bills are at number 10. And we talked about it last show on Sunday night. If you haven't seen that, about we have to leapfrog 3 teams. And you might be asking why the Bengals, they're 6-6. They beat us. Why are they behind the Bills? Why are the 11th seed? And that's because if you have teams that are tied more than 2, it actually goes to the conference record. And right now, the Bills are 3-5, and the Bengals are 2-6. So the Bengals have the worst conference record out of those teams, and that's why the Bills are still holding on to that 10th spot. Let's see here. No other questions out there? Who else is out there in the channel joining us tonight? First of all, I want to say if you're new to our channel, please like, comment, and drop a nickel on that subscribe button. Jake, I've been forgetting to say that on all our shows. You're supposed to back me up, buddy. You're supposed to,
I know I'm
stay up
bad
for
too.
me.
I'm just as bad. Yeah,
We just get too excited about the game
we
and
do.
talking about it. So this is a must-win game, Jake. There's no more. Oh, if we lose, maybe there's a path. It's a must-win. You have to win because I'm going to tell you, if you lose this game, AFC loss in your conference, you already have one of the worst records in the conference. You're 3-5. You'd go to 3-6. Your percentages probably drop under 5%. So it's game time. But unfortunately, the AFC is so tough, Jake. I don't know any teams other than maybe Philly. I don't know many teams that have went on a 5-game winning streak. It's been rare.
San Fran, they started off 5-0.
Yeah, but those are your elite,
but hey,
your elite teams
for sure. But if you remember 3 years ago, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were 6-6, and they won out. So who's to say that the Buffalo Bills cannot do the same thing? Now, listen, I know they had the GOAT at quarterback. We got another GOAT at quarterback and Josh Allen, all right? So I know he's not at Tom Brady status just yet, but he can do a lot more physically than Tom can. So who's to say that we can't make a run? I mean, we have the talent, Mike. I think the offense is definitely back. Josh feels the most excited he's ever felt. My dad mentioned that too. You could tell there's just a better aura around this team right now. And, you could say that this team is down in the dumps, whatever, but I don't see that. I see resilience. I think these guys are motivated. I mean, you have Dawson Knox coming back, potentially Kaiir Elam as well. Rasul Douglas is playing great football. I'm encouraged. And by the way, I looked at the injury report today. Not a single injury. I mean, outside of vet rest. I mean, all the guys that were marked originally on an injury report, they had full practice. So that's great.
I mean, the bye really helped out, Jake. There was a couple people from the last game that we are concerned about, but like I said earlier in the show, everyone's looking like a go.
Yeah.
Big L saying, how much money have we raised for Cardell so far? So Big L,
let's see.
We are at 50%, 58% of our 5,000 K goal. I'm sorry, 5K goal. And we've raised 2,879. So amazing stuff. We want to thank everybody who has donated to the cause. And we look to exceed our goal like we did last year. So any help you can give us. I know it's a tough time of the year to be parting ways with anything financially, but you can help in other ways by sharing the link with your friends, your family, your coworkers, and your social media platforms. There's no amount that's too small. I mean, $8, $10, we've had those type of donations. They add up. Get enough people donating $10, we'll hit our goal pretty easily. So thanks, Big L, for asking. It's very important to us. And to get
we're more than halfway there.
We are. So I'm excited about that. So one thing we talked about, let me stop that real quick. One thing we talked about is the Chiefs. One of the big differences, and I think you mentioned it, is that wide receiver group. And, but recently, I think Mahomes is finding a favorite target. Obviously, Kelsey always is going to be his guy. But you talked about Rashid Rice. Yeah. And can you tell the folks a little bit about him? Because he is starting to become that guy. And I know this because he's been on my fantasy team, and I've had to use him a few times during buys, and he's always produced. So there's that. So talk to the folks a little bit about him.
Well, he was drafted in the second round, and I think the Chiefs really did find a very good solution as their wide receiver one in Rashid Rice. He put up absolute crazy numbers his final year at SMU, pass-heavy offense there. He's 6'2", 203. And, I mean, the last few games for him have been pretty damn good. You look at what he did last week, 8 catches, 64 yards. The week before that, 8 for $107 and a tutter. He's had some nice string of games over the last really 3 weeks. I think this is a guy that he's tough. He's physical. He's quick in and out of his breaks. He runs very good routes. His attention to detail is fantastic, which that's something the Chiefs really do preach in this offense. And he's actually a very good blocker as well. So this is a guy that really is like the complete package. And I think they did a really nice job of securing him in the second round. That was actually a guy that I was hoping the Bills might look at in the third round, but he didn't even make it there. Yeah. So, great pick by the Chiefs. I think he is definitely solidifying himself as a number one receiver in that offense.
Yeah, and they did a great job of working him in slowly. I mean, they didn't just throw him to the wolves. I mean, he's been gaining more and more snap counts week by week, and now
Yeah.
he's becoming their top receiver. He is. They also have Sky Moore, who is
Yeah.
they had Rice, who's a second rounder this year, like you said. They have Sky Moore, who was a second rounder, I believe, last year. And then they have Justin Watson, like you said. He's been around for a few years now.
Kid
So
out of
again,
Penn. He's an Ivy Leaguer.
yeah. So not a lot of big like guys that like you're like, whoa, you're scared of. But again, Rice is coming on at the right time for them.
And MVS too, Mike. Don't forget.
They haven't used him though. Hasn't it
Their
been
version
crazy?
of Gabe Davis, by the way.
Right? He's been pretty much disappointing all year for them. I don't know what happened there. So
there was that controversial call this past game, really, against the Packers, where going against his former team, it's one of the last plays of the game, and PI probably should have been called, but I think it was a make-up no call because of that horrendous roughing the passer or an unnecessary roughness call that they had on Pat Mahomes. So I think it was basically by the refs saying, hey, we're not going to call this because we called that, so.
Well, and he dropped that touchdown pass against Philly, right? They had the game won perfectly thrown deep ball to him right in his hands, and he dropped it. So, yes, they have him, and he's a seasoned vet. He definitely has great speed, but something's been off with him this year, and I hope it continues to be off when they play the Bills. For some reason, the Bills seem to get everyone to play their best games. I don't know why that is, but
Kadarius Toney's a name too. That's a guy that I think the Bills fans were a little in uproar when the Chiefs made the move to get him last year mid-season, because we're like, man, we could have gotten a weapon like that. But he hasn't really done a whole lot for them. He offers that ability to be a gadget player for them. But as you saw with Wan'Dale Robinson, what he did with the Giants against us, very similar type player that Kadarius Toney is. So that's a guy to maybe key in on a little bit, because I think he's been forgotten.
So let's talk about the Packer game and the Chiefs game last week. I mean, I don't know if they were overlooking the Packers. The Packers are 6-6, and believe it or not, if the season was to end today, the Packers would be the 7th spot wildcard team.
Yeah.
And again, they're at 6-6, so they're at their wildcard run right now. I'm sorry, they're at their playoff run. But when I look at the box score for that game, Jordan Love was able to throw for 3 touchdowns, 267 yards. He was sacked twice, but he had a QBR rating of 90.3. QBR. His quarterback rating was 118. And then over on Patrick Mahomes' side, he threw for 210 yards. He was sacked 3 times. QBR rating of 53. So not one of Pat's best days. And his quarterback rating was 79.1. I mean, I think we were live during that game. We were.
Yeah.
But what's your thoughts on that? Because that was a big surprise. And is there anything that Green Bay did that we might be able to? I look at their running game. It was okay. They ran for 129 yards. They averaged 5.2. Our running game's been coming into form. But, thoughts on things that maybe, I know you didn't watch it live, but maybe you checked out the stats and saw some highlights of it. Thoughts on what maybe they did that we can maybe utilize in our game?
They took the chunk plays, and I think there were a couple times too where Jordan Love gave his receivers a chance, which I want to see some more of in this offense. I want to see some more 50-50 balls, especially with guys like Steph Diggs. I mean, that's a dude that needs to have double-digit targets every game. I don't care. Like, I know you want to go away from him and use other weapons, but even so, give him the double-digit targets and get those other guys involved too. So I think that's something that the Packers did really well. And they ran the ball with purpose. They didn't just run it to run it. And I think that's something you're starting to see with Joe Brady's offense. Now, I will say this. I do want to get away from running up the middle with James Cook. I think he's much better off tackle. That is his game, the outside zone. Guys like Latavius Murray, that's who you're going to get up the middle. Bigger backs. Ty Johnson, I think, can do a little bit of both. But I love our running backs. And I know every week we're presented with the question of, why haven't we activated Leonard Fournette? I don't really see a need to do so. And it's crazy to say because like last year he had a career high in catches. So I felt like when we did sign him, he would eventually be activated. But Ty Johnson's done a fantastic job over these last few weeks, filling in and scoring touchdowns and doing the right things. So I like our running backs a lot. And I think that's something the Packers did really well. They had Aaron Jones out of that game. A.J. Dillon ran the ball hard. They ran with purpose, like I said. And with their passing game, they spread it out a little bit. Like they didn't just focus on one guy. I just mentioned that Steph Diggs should have double-digit targets. I 100% agree. But now with having Dawson Knox potentially back, we're able to spread the ball out a little bit more, and that's just another added weapon. So I think taking the chunk plays when you can, running the ball with purpose, and I think just being very methodical with the passing game is going to be huge. Having a guy going over the middle, whether it's Khalil Shakir or Dalton Kincaid, want to see a lot more of that too.
So they did a good job on taking Kelsey away in that game. He had 5 targets.
They did.
They had 4 catches for 81, which is still a decent, it's a good game from a tight end, but not normally. Travis Kelsey usually has 1 or 2 touchdowns in those stats. And then Rusty Rice had 8 for 64. But talk to me about, the past couple times we've played them, and I think you were talking about Saran Neal. They put Saran Neal on Kelsey. What's your thoughts on what the Bills got to do? Because our linebackers, let's face it, Jake, they're short. Yeah. They're short. I don't think they can guard a Kelsey. I think Kelsey can feed. What do we got to do? Who would you like to see going up against Kelsey, kind of trying to take him out of the game?
Well, I mean, one of the names I said, Kaiir Elam. He's a bigger corner. He does a fantastic job with man coverage. He's physical at the line. If there's any game you're going to see him play, I think this is the game. And you saw what he did last year against the Chiefs. He was awesome. Another guy who we've used in the past and has done a really good job on Travis Kelsey, Saran Neal. Bigger corner, very physical at the line. I don't want TJ on Travis Kelsey. I don't think Taron Johnson is the answer there. He's a little smaller. I know he's physical as well. He doesn't mind getting a little dirty, but I want a bigger guy matched up against him. So I think it's between those two, Saran Neal and Kaiir Elam.
Yeah, I agree. Because if they can, for me, again, I'm not a defensive coordinator, but when I look at what's been happening for the Chiefs, I'm like, take Kelsey away and let them beat you with the receivers who have really struggled. That's what I would do. And again, that's easier said than done, because how many times have you watched the Chiefs game and you're like, what the hell? Why can they not stop Kelsey? I mean, it doesn't, he's not like super fast. He just goes out and seems like everyone leaves him wide open. He finds a space in the zone, and him and Mahomes are just so in touch with one another. It just looks simple, but you're left scratching your head thinking, how is this possible? How can no one shut this guy down? It's crazy, Jake.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know. It's amazing. He's a magician working in space. Yeah, I know it. Roy's saying again, yeah, you're absolutely right, Roy. And that's the thing. It's like I said, if there is any game to activate him, I would say it would be this game. But you're right. You have to then essentially cut someone or put someone on IR. But that's not going to happen. I don't see any injuries that are even worthy of doing so. So, yeah, and I don't know who that would be. We talked a couple different options, maybe Jermaine Ifedi, AJ Klein. But, yeah, good point.
Yeah, on this one, Roy, I want to say no, because I love what Murray's been doing, and he's comfortable with the offense. And yes, Leonard Fournette, Lombardi Fournette, playoff Lenny, whatever you want to call him, Lombardi Lenny. I mean, the promise of him is always exciting to see what he can bring. But I think right now the backfield's pretty darn good, like you said. So Ty Johnson's been impressive. I don't know what I know he played for the Jets. You didn't get to see a lot of him, but man, he runs hard, and I don't know. He looks and feels like he's a bigger back. What do you know what his size is?
He's quick. I think he's like 5'10", maybe 205, Mike, something like that. But he runs very physical. He's fast. He did have a 500-yard season with the Jets a few years ago. So I like what the kid's done. I'm very impressed across the board with him. I'm actually going to look just to see here because I want to verify that. Let's see here. Ty Johnson, 5'10", 210. Okay. Yeah. So
that's kind of like
he was drafted originally by the Lions.
Moss build? Is Zach a little heavier?
Zach Moss is about the same size. He's 5'9", 210 himself. And yeah, I mean, 2021, he had over 500 all-purpose yards, actually 600 all-purpose yards between receiving and rushing. So he can offer you both things, which is great. And that's something, we mentioned Leonard Fournette, career high in catches last year. Maybe there is a reason why Ty Johnson is getting the nod over him. He's younger, and he can catch passes too.
I mean, this is a crazy thought. Would you put Rasul Douglas on Kelsey?
I would. But the problem is, I think he's a better. Well, I guess that's a nice thing too. Rasul can play all corner positions. He
Yeah.
can play inside, he can play outside. So that's part of the reason why we traded for him. That's a good point too, Mike.
I mean, if you're looking to shut down Kelsey, you put your best guy on him, and then their best wide receiver right now is Rice. You got Benford, you got Jackson. I'm comfortable with those guys.
Serviceable, yeah.
Right. It's not like we're going against Justin Jefferson or Garrett Wilson or anyone like that. I mean, don't get me wrong. Rice is starting to rise, and he's becoming that guy. But still, I don't know. It's just
that's a very good point. I actually didn't even really consider that, and I should have, because you're right, and he could play all over.
Yeah, Ty Johnson can also play special teams, so that might give him a leg up. Yeah, absolutely. So, Jake, I mean, this is it, dude. It's do or die. Again, like, I'm tired of trying to be optimistic. I'm like, hey, if we lose this, we still have a path.
There is none of that.
In my mind, we lose any more games, it's done. We're going to be still supporting our team, loving our team, cheering for them, and then start looking forward to the draft. But the Bills still would have a hand in the seeding for sure, because they play some big teams like the Dolphins at the end of the year, and they could ruin the Dolphins seeding. But I'm not going to be negative. Win each game 1 week at a time. That's what it's going to take, Jake. There's no more sugarcoating it. No more.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, you can't. Backs are against the wall, Mike.
Right. Exactly. So we're at that point of the show, guys, where we'd love to see your predictions. Look, Big L read my minds. Bills 35, KC 28.
I love that.
I mean, I'll tell you what, the odds of it being a one-score game, you can predict that every week. I don't think I've been wrong, other than the Bills winning, but I've been saying this. For me, it'll be a one-score game, and the Bills will win by one or more points. That's all I say. I don't give you a score anymore, but you can almost bet on that, Jake. I bet if you were betting, one-score games, I don't know how you can bet that, but dude, in the NFL this year, I don't have the numbers, but KC's got 7 one-score games. Buffalo's got 8. We're 2-6 in one-score games. It's like that throughout the league, man. There's every Sunday, you're like, wow, all these close games, and it's against teams that are sometimes they're great against a bad team, yet that bad team shows up, sort of like, I don't know, New England Patriots against the Buffalo Bills. Did I just say that? Terrible. But anyhow, Jake, why don't you tell us, because I love how you kind of like in your head, you play it out, and let's hear it. Let's hear what you predict this week.
You know what? I'm gonna pull a Mike Thornton. I'm not gonna predict exactly what happens, but I'm gonna give you a score prediction.
All right.
We're gonna win by 2 scores. 31-20 Bills. Look at that. 31-31 tie. I do like the 31 score, but 31-20 Bills, Roy. That's what I'm rolling with.
31-31 tie isn't going to help us too much right now. I mean, it could, but again, you got to win out, man. Bills can still get the 1 seed.
They technically can. I mean, the AFC is wide open right now. You look at these remaining games for these higher seeds. I mean, even the Ravens, they got to go and play Miami. Although if they do lose to Miami, then Miami, no matter what, will have a higher seed than the Bills. So, but even so, I mean, the AFC North, they're going to beat up on each other a little bit. I know the Colts are going to be playing some AFC North teams. So it really, I mean, there may be a 5 or 6 loss team that ends up rolling into that 1 seed. You just don't know.
Yeah. I mean, the Bills, we talked about that on Sunday. I mean, they're 3 games behind the Dolphins. Dolphins have to lose 2 games, and the Bills have to run the board. And that final game of the year against the Dolphins would be for the division. Yeah. But the Dolphins have a couple easy games on their schedule coming up. Yes, they have to finish the year, they have tough ones. They have Dallas, Ravens, and the Bills. And again, that's assuming the Bills are going to win out. But let me just give you, I can't remember off the top of my head. Let me give you who the Dolphins are playing this week and next week. So let's see here.
They're not on a bye, right?
No, they're not.
The Dolphins are not. They already had their bye. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, I like this point of the year because everyone's caught up now.
Right.
Let's see here. So they go against the Titans. They play the Titans.
That's a Monday nighter. Doubleheader Monday nighter this week, by the way.
And the other advantage they have is that 4 out of their last 5 games are at home, which is super helpful for them. So they play the Titans. I mean, the Titans almost knocked off the Colts, which would have been a huge help for us, but they kind of blew that game. And then they play the Jets, and I don't know if Aaron Rodgers shows up. Maybe I don't know. It's still an interesting conversation with Rodgers. But then they go into the meat of their schedule to finish the year. They got the Cowboys, got the Ravens in week 17, and I don't know. I don't think the Ravens have. Let's see here. What did I say earlier? The Ravens have a 2-game lead over 2 teams chasing them. I still think I think they either play the Steelers or the Browns. I don't think they're not going to be in a position to be sitting people in week 17. Right. And that's their second to last season or second to last game. And then they finish with the Bills. That would be fantastic if it came down to that game. Oh boy.
I think they can lose. They can lose to the Cowboys and the Ravens. So you lose 2 of those games. That last game is for the division then if the Bills win out.
I just don't see them losing the Titans and Jets. If they do, oh my goodness! I mean, obviously,
we need a favor from the Titans, man. Will Levis needs to step it up. Yeah, they screwed us last week with the Colts. They can make up for it this week against the Dolphins.
Roy says the good news is most of my predictions are wrong. I think
likewise, Roy.
I think a lot of our predictions have been completely wrong this year.
Yeah.
But there's hope, and again, to me, it's not like, oh, if we win this one, we can get this way. No, win each game. Focus. We have the team. We know we can win. It's just a matter of finally putting it together, and so we're gonna see how bad these guys want it. I mean, I was thinking to myself coming home from the store earlier, and I'm like, I'm a competitive guy, Jake, and I hate to win. I'm sorry, I hate to lose. I'm very competitive, and it just. I mean, when the Bills lose, or if I lose anything, whether it's a game, a board game with the family, or back in the day when I was playing sports, I just despise losing, and I wasn't getting paid millions of dollars. So my thought was, well, how many players in the league maybe are just they settle. They're like, hey, you know what? I'm getting my millions. Win or lose, it's just like going to an 8-to-5 job. But I like to think that majority of the players in the NFL, including the Buffalo Bills teams, are there to win, and they're highly, highly competitive.
Absolutely.
So let's go. Let's be as competitive as we are, Jake. I still think it'd be great. I would love to hire you for a game. I think we talked about this a while ago, having a motivational outsider on the sideline for the whole game. And
I would love to do that. Just be the hype man, be the so like Caleb Presley from Barstool Sports, be the commissioner of morale or something like that, or like the morale guy, whatever you call it. Yeah, would love to do that.
We'd have to remove a water boy to be able to have a spot for you to go on.
Hey, I could be a water boy too. I'll do both. Both. I don't care.
Tell me about what would your personality be on the sideline? Because you're just there as a motivator. You're an outsider. Yeah. Would you go up to Diggs and say, Diggs, you got to catch that freaking ball? What the hell's wrong with you? Or
no, I wouldn't do that.
Okay.
I would be like,
okay, Steph, don't worry. Get him next time.
I would be lighthearted about it. I'd be like, hey, maybe next time, just catch it, man. I would do something like that. Try to be funny about it. Maybe get him a little fired up, but I don't think I could call someone out, especially because they're so much better at the game than I am. Like I couldn't do what you're doing. So maybe I'll just, I'll try to keep it light. That's what I would probably do.
I love it. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I mean, I know a few folks that might get on that sideline and not be afraid to call them out whatsoever.
God bless them. Yeah. Yeah. Comedian Mo Brown, by the way, we did go through in our last show, we had that playoff generator up and we went through the Bills percentage for each of these games, whether we won or lost and where that would be at. And actually today, it's funny. I saw a thing. It was posted by, I think, CBS Sports. They posted a scenario where the New England Patriots could still get into the playoffs at 7-10, but every other team ahead of them would have to lose the majority of their games, and the Pats would get in at 7-10. It was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
All right,
but Jake, it is very interesting to do that.
We're going to do just what you asked for Roy, and we brought this up last week. But you know what, Jake, I learned a little bit more about it, so we're gonna have to be quick about it. But let's see. Let me blow this up as big as I can so it's readable. So as of right now, this is New York Times, and again, I don't know their algorithms, but I got to trust it. It's a trustworthy site. They give the Bills a 13% chance of making the playoffs. Now, what we're going to do here real quick, Jake, is go week by week. We got week 14 coming up, and we'll go down the board here and predict who's going to win each game, and we'll go
through, I like this.
Quickly, okay? And then we'll see if that number rises or drops. Are you ready for this?
Let's do it.
A little larger. I think that's about as large as I can. Okay, great. All right, let's start. Pats, Steelers. Buccaneers, Falcons.
I'm going to say the Buccaneers steal one here.
Okay. Lions, Bears.
Lions.
All righty. Colts, Bengals.
Colts are hot right now. Let's roll with the Colts.
All right. I would have said the Bengals, but I'm going to let you. You're making these choices. I'm going to go with the.
I'm just going to go first choice. Yeah.
All right. Jags, Browns.
Now, I don't think Trevor Lawrence is playing this week.
I don't think so either. And so you got backup quarterback versus backup
roll with the Brownies. Joe Flacco looked pretty good last week.
Okay. Panthers, Saints.
The Panthers are a train wreck.
All right.
Although they played better. They did play better under Chris Tabor.
Texans, Jets.
Texans will pull it off, but it's going to be close.
Okay. Rams, Ravens.
I think the Rams are going to pull one off.
Okay. Ooh.
This could throw a wrench into things.
That would be huge. Vikings, Raiders.
Ooh. Raiders are due. Let's go with the Raiders. At
Really?
home, too. Yeah. Okay. You know what? The Vikings have been underwhelming lately. Josh Dobbs started off hot and lost to the Bears.
But Jefferson is back. Just letting you know.
Officially.
He's supposed to be back this week.
All right, let's give it to the Vikings then.
All right, because we want the AFC teams to lose. So
yeah, you're right.
All right, Seahawks, Niners, best team in the football. Got to give it to the Niners.
You can't bet against them.
All right, so let's obviously
look at this 10% now.
We're starting to rise up the board just a little bit, but let's look at the difference. If the Bills win, we're jumping up a little bit. All right, we're getting closer to 20%. If the Chiefs win. That's what I'm saying, man. You got to win every game.
Yikes.
Well, let's say the Bills win this. Let's continue. Broncos, Chargers.
Oh, the Chargers are due. They got to get a win here. Justin Herbert's going to go off.
Okay.
Keenan Allen and Justin Herbert all day.
Eagles, Cowboys. So that's a big one for we still got 19%. But
Eagles rebound in a big way here.
Eagles, okay. Titans, Dolphins.
Got to give it to Miami. I hate to say it.
Yeah. Just curious if the Titans were to pull that upset. Let's see what
I wonder what that would do.
See what it says. Ooh.
Wow.
A little bit. Not
much. It looks like it's going to go up so much higher, but it doesn't.
Yeah. All right. That's Packers, Giants. Packers are on their playoff run. They're similar to the Bills, but they're in a better position because the NFC. So there you go. 20%. I think we started. What did we
13
start?
It was
13 up to 20.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the next week. Week 15, quickly. Chargers, Raiders.
Chargers
continue. Now the Chargers are on, they're still not eliminated either. But all right, let's go. Vikings, Bengals.
Let's do the Vikings here.
All right.
JJ's back. You're right, Mike.
All right.
Don't bet against them.
Bears, Browns.
Ooh. I'm going to say the Browns just because Jim Schwartz does a good job against young quarterbacks.
Okay. Bears have been playing better these days.
They have been.
Good choice. Broncos, Lions.
Lions.
Steelers, Colts.
I think the Colts pull it off.
Really? Okay. Well, here's a situation where we're chasing both these teams. So
yeah,
it's a game either way for the most part.
That defense is dominant for Pittsburgh, but I don't know.
Look how we dropped because the Colts win that one. Let's see.
Yeah.
Is there a difference if it's Steelers? That's about the same.
Yeah,
all right, so we'll stick with the Colts. Falcons, Panthers. A game we don't care about. Buccaneers, Packers. Again, NFC. What do you think here? I think the Packers
are going on a run, baby.
All right. Texans, Titans.
Texans.
All righty.
That sucks. Dolphins.
Oh,
so if you look next to the team, it shows what the percentage is going to be.
Yeah.
So 20 if okay, yeah.
Yeah, I just realized that too. All right, so now we've dropped the Dolphins win. We're down to 16, but that's because we haven't gotten to our game yet. Giants, Saints.
I'm going to say Saints.
Yeah, another game we don't really care about. Commanders, Rams, we don't care about. But you got
the Rams.
Rams have been playing good football.
Rams have been playing very good football.
Yes, they have. And they helped us out last week. What a big win.
Yeah, they did.
So good job. 49ers, Cardinals.
Niners.
Got to give it to the Niners. All right, Bills. Got to win this one, right?
Absolutely.
Got to win this one.
28% after that. Not bad.
Not bad. And of course, if the Cowboys were to win, we're back down to under 5%. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yikes.
So you can see, folks, why we're saying every game must win or go home. Eagles, Seahawks.
Eagles.
All right. Ravens, Jaguars.
I give it to the Ravens.
All right.
And then the Chiefs.
Chiefs. There we go.
Yikes.
But you know, that kind of helped us, that Ravens.
That did help us. Because the Jags then, because the Colts probably jumped the Jags then.
Possibly. Yep.
Yeah.
So the Jags could be on the downside. Now, remember, you got the Browns with a backup quarterback who are ahead of us. You got now, who knows, high ankle sprain for Trevor Lawrence. That's sometimes like a 4 to 6 week.
That's what they're saying.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I like CJ Beathard. He has starting experience, but that offense is not the same with him.
No, not at all. All right. So we're at 29%, folks, entering week 16. Still not the greatest odds right there. Yeah. Let's move on. Week 16, Saints, Rams.
I'm going to say the Rams.
Rams continue on their streak. All right. Bengals, Steelers.
The Steelers are going to get a win at home.
Okay.
They already beat the Bengals with Jake Browning. I'm going to say they do it twice. Yeah.
Yeah. Another team. I don't know what the deal is with Kenny Pickett, but they have Mitch Trubisky, who is very serviceable, and I don't think there's much of a drop off. So I'm with you on that one there. Bills, Chargers. Got to win this one.
Got to go with the Bills, baby.
This is at SoFi, SoCal. About 2 hours.
Are you going, Mike?
I told you I'm gonna look at tickets, but it is going to be a home game. I guarantee you, the Mafia is going to take over that. The Chargers are the stepchild here in Southern California, especially at SoFi.
Pretty bad.
I expect to see 60 to. Now it'll be interesting if the Chargers get back into the playoff race. That stadium will probably fill up a little bit more, but the Bills Mafia is still going to dominate. Now listen, last year I went to the game opening day, Thursday night, played the Rams. The Rams were coming off a Super Bowl, and the Mafia overtook that stadium.
Yeah.
So
you know what's the best part is that they played the shout song in that stadium.
Yes, yes. I captured that. I captured that and I put it out as a short. And my goodness, that thing continues to get looks and views. All right, Bills at Chargers. Got to win this one. Must win.
Oh yeah.
All right. 41%. Getting up there. Colts, Falcons.
I think the Falcons are going to steal one here.
Because the Falcons, I believe, are still in the playoff hunt.
They are. I mean, they may win the NFC South. The NFC South is wide open right now.
Seahawks, Titans.
Let's go Seahawks.
Seahawks. And I see Roy out there saying 5 in a row. Yeah, we haven't shown.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, man.
Not many teams have shown the ability to go 5 in a row. Lions, Vikings.
Lions.
Yeah. Commanders, Jets.
Ooh, I'm going to say Commanders.
Okay.
Jamison Crowder revenge game.
If Rodgers was back, I'd definitely say Jets.
Yeah, I think it does depend on that.
Packers. Panthers. Yeah, we're this is a big game too. 2 teams we're chasing, so you can see that some of those teams that we are trying to catch, they are beating up on one another. So you got
I think the Texans.
You think the Texans?
Texans get the dub here, even though Jim Schwartz, like I said, he plays very well against these younger quarterbacks. Ooh.
Jaguars, Bucks.
I'm gonna take the Buccaneers.
This is a big one. Obviously, Jaguars.
Yeah,
they lost one of the last games we predicted.
I'm going to say Trevor Lawrence is still not playing here. And
all right,
I'm going to take the Buccaneers.
Bucks pull it out? Because let me see something here. I'll have to look. Are the Bucks still in the race?
They are. So right now, they're only 1 game out of the NFC South lead. They're 5-7. Falcons are 6-6.
All right, Cardinals, Bears.
Let's go Bears.
Okay.
Although that's going to be close.
Game that doesn't really matter to us. Cowboys, Dolphins.
Cowboys.
Gotta pull for the Cowboys.
Now let's see what this does.
Yeah, let's see. So if the Cowboys win, 51%. If the Dolphins win, it's about the same.
Wow.
At this point, though, if they were to beat the Cowboys, the shot of us winning the
division
is probably done. So, Patriots, Broncos.
Yeah,
you got to go. Patriots are looking for that number 2 overall pick next year, maybe number 1. Although they can't get number 1, I don't think. Raiders at Chiefs. Actually, they can get number 1.
They
Chiefs.
can.
Yeah,
Panthers, they have to win a few games, but yeah.
Giants, Eagles. Meaningless game for us.
Eagles. Yeah, you got to go Eagles.
And then big one here, Ravens, Niners. I'm
going to say the Niners.
Yeah, I got to give them Niners. That should help us a little bit. Maybe. Interesting.
Did that lower our percentage?
It did. A couple percentage points.
Crazy.
Remember, they're running through simulations. So it's going to go up, go down. Week 17, the final 2 weeks here. Jets, Browns.
Let's go Brownies.
Okay. Now, that's a big difference. I want to show you something here. If we were to win, if the Jets were to pull that out again, but if you want to go with Flacco, we don't go up the board too much. Okay. But let's be realistic as we can. Lions, Cowboys, meaningless game for us.
I think Cowboys pull
Cowboys
it off.
At home. Patriots at Bills. Better be the Bills.
If the Pats win that game, I'm done.
Dude, if we don't make the playoffs and, you have to look back to that friggin' Patriot game. And it's
Chris is never going to let us live that down.
Oh, I know.
I can't live with that. No.
Falcons, Bears.
Let's go the Bears here.
All right. Raiders, Colts.
Let's go Raiders.
Okay. Rams, Giants.
From last year. Rams, definitely.
I think with the way we're predicting the Rams, they're going to make the playoffs.
The Rams are on a streak.
Cardinals, Eagles.
Eagles.
Okay. Saints, Bucks.
Marshawn Lattimore versus Mike Evans. It's always a great battle. Let's go Bucks.
Okay.
The Saints just have been very disappointing this year.
Easy one here. 49ers, Commanders. Got to take 49ers. Panthers, Jaguars.
Jags.
Got to take the Jags here. There's a big one. Dolphins, Ravens. I don't think the win, either one helps us
Doesn't do much, but let's go Ravens because I want a chance at the division.
Okay. And I don't think it changes it too much.
No, it doesn't.
A couple points. That's it. So, yeah, Ravens. Titans at Texans.
Let's go Texans.
All right. Steelers,
Seahawks.
This could be
this
very
is big.
helpful. This could be helpful. There we go. All of a sudden, we're moving up the board here. Chargers, Broncos. Again, it would be great if the Chargers can knock them off, but be realistic.
We'll give it to the Broncos. We'll give this one to the Broncos. Even though the Chargers probably could. They should on paper.
They could, but by that time, dude, it's going to be cold. Chargers aren't a cold weather team. It's going to be cold out there in Denver. Bengals, Chiefs. I give it to the Chiefs. Packers, Vikings.
Let's go Packers. They're going to run the table. They're on a run. The Bills are on a run. The Packers are on a run.
All right. So
76%.
Here we go. Final week, guys. Final week. So let's go.
Oh my gosh.
There we go. I'm excited. This isn't even real.
I know. I'm getting excited.
This is what it could come down to. All right. Browns, Bengals.
Oof. I'll go Brownies.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go.
All right. Vikings. And you're really counting on Flacco to be that guy, and that's kind of why you're giving him the edge over what you saw in the backup of the Bengals. I don't know. That's
Jake Browning was very impressive last week.
He was. He was.
I think they can do it, but
when you got the weapons that he has, we were joking. I was saying I could throw 300 yards with the Bengals weapons. So I don't know. If I was picking, it might be a little different. Vikings, Lions.
I think the Lions are sitting people this week. Let's go Vikings.
All right, good point. Bears, Packers. Packers still on their run. Got to win, probably get in, ensure themselves a playoff spot. Jags, Titans.
Ooh, I think the Titans pull one off. Mike Vrabel's potential last game as a Titans coach, and then he goes to New England.
Look at the difference here. If the Titans did pull the upset,
that would be
my
huge.
Gosh. But
holy smokes.
But if the Jaguars win, again, I don't. If Lawrence is back, come on, we gotta be a little realistic.
You're right.
Let's be a little realistic there. I know wishful thinking as the Titans,
Yeah.
Texans Colts. Here we go.
Now this one I'm
teams.
going to give the Colts. I'm going
Okay.
to give the Colts the win here.
Two teams were fighting, and that hurt.
Yikes.
That hurt. Wow. So let me see something here. Did that change? Okay,
Wow.
dude. The way we want the Texans to win that game, but you called the Colts.
Give it to the Colts. You know
Broncos,
what?
Raiders.
Broncos.
There we go. Bills, Dolphins. Got to give it to the Bills.
Got to go to the Bills.
We said we got to win. Oh boy.
Flex to Sunday night.
Oh boy, look at this. 100% we're in the playoffs. Might have won the division with that.
That wins the division
simulation there. But let's see. We're not done yet. Jets, Patriots.
Great game. Let's give it to the Jets.
Give it to the Jets. Shouldn't affect us one bit. Falcons, Saints.
This will be probably for the division, but let's go Falcons.
Eagles, Giants.
Eagles.
Yeah, none of these games look like they're going to affect us much.
Seahawks.
Chiefs, Chargers. Gotta be Chiefs. Rams, 49ers.
49ers. Although the Niners might be sitting people.
Yeah,
Cowboys,
that's a
Commanders.
possibility, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter in any of these games. Cowboys, Commanders, and they could be sitting people too, but gotta see the Cowboys. Buccaneers, Panthers.
Bucks,
because Panthers by that time they're like they want that.
Yeah. Although they kind of screwed themselves because
they don't get that number one.
No, because the Bears trade.
Bears get it, don't they? Woo.
Yeah. So they not only got DJ Moore, but they got the Panthers picks. Crazy.
Steelers, Ravens. Who knows? That could come down for the division right there. But I gotta say the Ravens. Yeah, I gotta give it to the Ravens. So there you have it, folks.
Wow.
I mean, that's what has to happen. Of course, one loss by the Bills. Let me take that over here.
Oh,
dude,
we're out.
We're done. So you can go through all the scenarios.
7.
You can go through all the scenarios you want.
Wow.
But the reality is, you got to win out. And yes, one game at a time. So, Roy, unfortunately, I don't have enough faith in this team to win 5 in a row. It's tough. There's not been many teams that do go on a 5-game winning streak. We were talking about that earlier in the show. But we'll see. This is where it starts. And 1 week at a time, every game is a win or go home, Jake. There's nothing else to say about it. Gotta win.
Kidding. That's the most surefire way of getting in is just winning out.
Yeah. So that's it. Bills can get in at 8 and 9 is what Mo's saying.
You'd have to have a lot of stuff go wrong.
Oh my goodness.
But they can technically. Like I said, there is a scenario where even the New England Patriots can get in at 7 and 10, but that would mean that all the teams ahead of them, including the Bills, would have to finish 7 and 10. Pretty insane.
All right. Well, we've given our predictions, kind of told everyone what,
31-20, baby.
Scenario. This scenario was kind of fun. And if the Bills win, maybe we'll play the scenario again based on all the other teams that won and play it out at that point as well. So it might be fun. So again, Jake and I will be back on Sunday night for the post game. We do have one more show this week prior to our show. That's the Red, White, and Ruthless. That's Sean and Brett. They go live on Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Jake and I will be back on Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern. And mark your calendars for December 22nd, 8 p.m. Eastern, the Holiday Spectacular event that will be streaming live and trying to raise money for this family. But there's some things, it's going to be fun it really is a family-oriented show, Jake. We're going to be giving away prizes for an ugly sweater contest. And by the way, if you want to get into that, mail your ugly sweater picture to nickelcitymafia@gmail.com and get entered now. Entries have to be in by the 20th of December to be counted. And then there's going to be trivia. There's going to be maybe Wheel of Fortune. We're going to have some prizes, some games, some prizes for people to win. We're going to have some signed merchandise. We got Dawson Knox signed glove. I think even we have a couple signs. You have one near you?
Pictures. Yeah, actually, I got it right here.
Pull one up. So it's also signed by Knox. And Comedian Mo Brown.
Slide in.
That's what I'm hoping, buddy. 11 and 6. Run the board, and you're in. There we go. Dawson Knox, and that's signed by him. That'd be cool. I'd love that on the backdrop there. And then
that's awesome.
2 of them, right?
Oh yeah. Another one right
Nice,
there.
the white jersey. And then we
Pretty
have
awesome.
the game worn gloves, which has a certificate of authenticity. Authenticity. Gotta say that right. There you go. And show those gloves, buddy. Oh, it's one
It's
glove,
just a glove, by the
but
way. It's
it's
just
a nice
one.
one. It's a nice one. Did he sign it?
He did.
He did. Look at that. So we'll be giving that away. Those the merchandise. We got some other merchandise, and then we'll be giving away some gift certificates as well. So loads of fun. But it's really all about raising money for this family in need. So join us 22nd, 8 p.m. Have your kids with you. It's going to be fun. We got performers. We got people singing. I just can't wait. We did this last year, and we learned a lot from last year, and we're taking it to the next level this year. So hopefully you can join us. Mark your calendars and be there. Jake, final thoughts, man.
I can't wait, Mike. Like I said, we got Bills football back this week. I feel rejuvenated. I cannot even imagine how this team feels. I think they're more motivated than ever. They want to prove everyone wrong. The Bills have been, the expectations were set so high. I think they've been dragged through the mud a little bit. They've gone through a coaching change already. Josh Allen has been doubted. And it's time. It's time. Buckle up, baby. We're going 11-6. As comedian Mo Brown says, we're going 11-6, baby. We're going to win out, and we're going all the way to the Super Bowl.
CMB, as I like to call him. I love it. Run the board. You have nothing to lose now. I don't want any hesitation to go for it. You have nothing to lose. Go for it. All right. It was, we'll be doing things that we probably wouldn't normally do because we're kind of conservative in some play calls. Or I mean, when it comes down to going for it, I think, all bets are off. I think Sean McDermott's like, let's go for it. Let's do this. So,
and look, if there's any positivity to take away too from 2 weeks ago against the Eagles, I truly believe that is the best team that we will have played all season long.
Agree.
The Cowboys, I think they're a good team, but I think the Eagles are even better, even with the banged up Jalen Hurts. So the fact that we really were in full control most of the game, I mean, that has to say something. And Josh Allen, honestly, is playing his best football right now. So excited going into this week, and it's going to be a great matchup nonetheless.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. All right, everyone, have a great rest of the week. And let's go Buffalo. And Jake, like we always say,
go Bills.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Appreciate you.